Hello, everyone! Welcome to the fourth and final episode of How to Make a Clicker Game on Scratch. And in this part, we're going to be finishing off by adding cool effects and making it look nice and polished. So let's get right into it. So, first, before that, please, can you like and subscribe? You can subscribe here if you like the button here it's an iCard. And also follow Fimochi on Scratch. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. So first, remember like we always do, we're going to save as a copy. And this is now Cat Clicker episode 4. I'm going to mute it for a while. So first of all, when we start the game, if an item if you can't buy an item in the shop, it should be a little bit ghosted out. But if you can buy it, then it should be like seeable like this. So let's code that now. But this is going to be a little bit harder the as the game only checks for clicks being greater than when we actually click the cat. So actually when we click the shop item. So first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put these scripts on top of here. That's when I started a clone block in the item sprite, instead of doing them after these. And now we're going to create 3 new variables. Also, we're gonna take these out. But wait, before we do that, what we should do is we can duplicate this script, and I'm just gonna copy all and delete it for later. But as that's going to be useful in a while. So anyway, now you can delete these things, those things, and create 3 new variables. One called clicks, but this time for this sprite only. One called CPC, again for this sprite only. And finally, one for CPS, again for this sprite only. Now these are going to be for each item. Each item is going to individually know if what its clicks are. So let's just hide them quickly. And now it over here. We're going to remove this if else script and just put these changes here. So now it's just got this simple short script. And now what we're going to do is we're going to change this up a bit. So now we're only left with this. So now we're going to set the clicks to clicks, and remember to make sure that these are the for this sprite only clicks, or else this is going to mess up the game fully and it's going to really be bad. So set clicks to clicks, set my CPC to CPC, oh, and set item CPS to CPS. And now when we start it, it'll work. So now remember when I copied the scripts earlier? Now it's time to paste them back in, put them underneath this weight, and move the script out of the way. But this time we're going to be changing it a bit. So first of all, we can safely remove this item hash tag. We don't need that anymore, as each item knows its clicks now. So now we're going to change it a bit. So if clicks is greater than, it can't be this pink clicks as it hasn't got a my block variable attached to it. But this time we're going to do the lowercase clicks. So if clicks is greater than clicks minus 1, change clicks by negative lowercase clicks, change CPC by lowercase CPC, and change CPS by lowercase CPS. And now if you go to test it, it'll be working as it did before. So when we try to buy it now, it won't work. But when we click enough times, then it will work and we'll get our CPS. So this is all working well and good. So Okay. So next, we're gonna add the ghosting effect. So this is gonna be very easy now. We have those defined scripts. So when I start as a clone, forever, if else, and then now we're just going to borrow this if clicks is greater than clicks minus one. So take it and put it in here. If it is greater than, so we have enough clicks, then we can set ghost effect to 0. We don't need to hide it, and you can safely buy the item. But if it isn't greater than, then you set the ghost effect to maybe around 35-ish would be okay. And now when you go to the shop, you'll see that the clicks are ghosted. But then when we click enough times, then eventually, yeah, then it lights up and then you can buy it. Also, just to let you guys know, I've muted the sound so it doesn't get too annoying. So that's why you aren't hearing the, the from the items. Anyway, next let's add some background music. So I'm gonna do, this is very easy, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the backdrops when green flag clicked, forever, and then play sound your background music. So I'm just gonna add my background music now. Okay, so now I've got my background music, and it sounds a little bit like this. It kind of, it moves in sync with the cat turning left and right. Okay, so that's the easy background music. Next, what I want to do is I want to add kind of like the falling shapes that you see in Computer Clicker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Paint and just call them whatever you want. I'm just going to call it shapes. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get a circle, make it red, and make sure it's red. And you'll be able to change the colors later, and I'll show you how. Then, if you want to make a circle, hold down the Shift key, and then wait, and then after holding down the Shift key, your circle's probably going to be around here-ish. So then drag it until it snaps to the middle. And now I'm going to call this circle. Now next I'm going to create a square. So call this square, this new costume, and then press delete. Now I'm going to get the square, and starting from the top corner, I'm going to bring it down while holding the Shift key. So I put my mouse in. So there's 4 pixels. There's 4 squares here. 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, and this is in the middle. So on the first square, which is over here, I'm going to start in the very top left corner, hold down Shift, and then start drawing. And this creates a perfect square. And then just drag it to the center. Now finally, you can duplicate this right. I'm going to make one more. Triangle. And for a triangle, it's also very easy. So first you get a square, then using the reshape tool in vector, if it's in bitmap, then you won't see it, so you have to convert it to vector. Then you can delete it by pressing delete backspace or this button. And then using this, you can rotate it while holding down the Shift key. Yeah, the Shift key is very useful. And finally, we can make it a bit bigger, and boom, we have a triangle. So now these are our 3 shapes: circle, square, and triangle. So now we're gonna actually code it up. So these are going to be kind of like wait, this wasn't named shapes before. So this is gonna be kind of like a cloning system. So it's gonna be cloning these different shapes. So what you're gonna do is when we flag clicked, simply hide. And first, let's create the code for the clones. So when I start as a clone, then first we can go to random position and we can set Y to 180, which is the very top. So it goes to random position on the map. So say it's here, then it goes to the top. And then finally, what we can do is we can show the sprites. But wait, we can also add new color effects. So set the color effect to pick random 0 to 200. And then you can also set the costume to pick random 1 to the amount of costumes you have, which is 3 for now. And then you can finally show. So if you put show at the start, then it what will happen is the different shapes will start spawning and you'll see it. But if you put show at the end, then all these scripts will happen, and then we'll add the show block. So this is what will happen. Now finally we can add a repeat until Y position is less than 180. Well, actually not 180, minus 180. And if 180 is the top of the screen, well, the view, then minus 180 is going to be the bottom of the screen. And if you don't think that it'll go far enough to shape, then you can set it to something less. But anyway, then you can change Y by negative 10. And then finally, when it touches the edge or when it goes off screen, delete the clone. Now, one last thing to give the shape a cool effect is create a new variable. Call it dir for this sprite only. And now set the shape's dir to pick random minus 10 to 10. And then now, since it's turned at the start, you can make it turn the degrees. Now, if we were to just instead of using the dir variable, just put this in here, turn pick random minus 10 to 10 degrees. I'm gonna make the shape bigger just to show. And then what would happen is it would keep doing that. But then if you turn by the degrees, and then we just set dir to a random number, then what will happen is then it will always turn the direction it's told to be turned into. So yeah. Now I'm gonna set the shape back to 100%, and now and you should make it look small. So if you didn't alter the shape size in the costume editor, then you might want to do that in the project itself. So yeah. Anyway, now we haven't even started cloning these shapes yet, which is why when you click the flag, you won't see any shapes falling. So we don't do the cloning in this sprite because forever create a clone of myself. If this is fine, but if this was under a broadcast or a start of a clone block, then what would happen is the clones would start creating more clones, more clones, more clones, and then it would just become an infinite loop, and then yeah, it'll be bad. So you can leave it in here, but if you were going to add a when broadcast, well, when after, so when I receive message this, then you can have the hide in this sprite, but then take this cloning script to the background. Anyway, so as well as just creating it forever, you should wait a bit. So maybe 0.05 seconds. And when we click the flag, now you'll see that it's working. But you can also see that the shapes aren't going off screen. And it's because 180 might be a bit too low, so change it to minus 170. And as you see, now they're going down. I also think -10 is too much. Change it to -4. It's funny how the shapes just freeze in cats there. -4. And the one last thing is make it go to the back layer because we don't want the shapes going in front of the cat. And then you can also add new shapes like stars and hexagons and other stuff. But one more thing is that when it's in the shop, we shouldn't let the shapes come in the shop's area. So first, you should find the first, this borderline that sits between the blue part of the shop and the black part of the shop. So the black part of the shop is where the shop actually begins. So using your mouse, hover the mouse pointer, the pointy part, is just on the borderline, and see what the Y is. Well, no, what not the Y, but the X. So that my X is 69, which is nice. But that's only easy if you have Scratch add-ons. So here you'd have to do something. So well you have to click the mouse X button and it'll be kind of hard. So put an ask mouse X and wait on a when space key pressed. So when I hover over the shop area, which is my project's lagging a bit. So when I hover over here, I press space. Oh wait, no, it's paused. So when I press space now, it'll say 69, which is my mouse X. So then I could just type blah blah blah, and yeah. So we're gonna need the mouse X of the borderline. So you can remove this test script now. So we're gonna need it for these shape scripts. So repeat until Y position is less than 170, or X position. You know what? I don't think we should delete the shapes because that would make it look weird. So what we'll do is we'll add a show and hide condition inside. So if is greater than 69, then if X position is greater than 69, then that means we're inside the shop. So simply let's hide it. Else we can show the shape. So but then we should also see that this area is empty when the shop's off. So we got to add an and in here. So and the shop is actually on. So if shop equals 1, and as you can see, now this is working. So when with the shops off, then these shapes are just falling down on where the shop is. Then when you click this, the shapes hide, and they show again. And this is all well and good. So now let's make it so that when you can click the cat by simply pressing the spacebar. And this is very easy to do. And so if you want to do this, you simply add an or key space pressed. No, actually change this to an and then change this to a not key space pressed. And then on the second wait until, you can add an or here. So into the touching mouse pointer and mouse down, or key space pressed. So this is a long script. So yeah, I'm gonna give you a few seconds to check it. So if you wanna check it, you have to see this. So the touching mouse pointer and not mouse down is in the left side of this space and the not key space pressed is in the right side of the and. Then this touching mouse pointer mouse down in the second script is in the left side of the OR, and then the space key is in the right side of the OR. So now when we try it, you'll see that when you press the space bar, it changes clicks. And so that is how you do it. Except the problem with this is that you have to keep the mouse hovered for the space key to work. So what we could do is we could separate these scripts off. So wait until touching mouse pointer, not mouse down is here. Wait until touching mouse pointer, mouse down here. So revert it back to normal. So now we can duplicate this script and remove these variables. And instead of these touching mouse pointer, mouse down, yada da, we can add a not key space press and the key space pressed, and then remove the or and the and. So this is better. So now when you press, yeah, you can click the spacebar. Click with the spacebar even when you're hovering away. It'll work perfectly fine. So anyway, now what we're going to do is we're going to add the cool effect that comes out of the cat. So like in computer clicker. So yeah. Okay. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new sprite. Before we do that, we need to add a new broadcast. So when we click the cat, go down a new broadcast called broadcast click. Okay. And add that broadcast click in here. We're going to use this in a second. So now we're going to get the cat sprite or just whatever sprite you want flying out. I'm just going to get the cat sprite. Or I could add the cat flying if I want, but nah, I'm not going to do that. So get the cat sprite and rename it to cats clones or whatever you want to call it. And then you can just finally delete this cat. Now what we're going to do is in the sizing, we're going to shrink it down to like 30% so that the mini ones fly out. And now when we flag clicked, same as the shapes thing, we're going to hide. As well as that, we're going to create a new variable, calling it type, display only. And just set type to blank. Alright. So now we're going to have I receive click. And remember when I said that creating clones could be very dangerous? And this is the reason we created the type variable. So we can do and if type is not, so if type is not the blank value. So the blank value is going to be the type that's used for the original sprite, the cloning factory. So then if it's not that, they're simply going to stop this script. They're not going to be cloning anything right now. Else it's cloning time. So first, we're going to go to front layer. And then we're going to create a new variable and call it dir. And the way you find, wait, I'm going to just tell you this in a second. So we're first going to move 40 steps forward and set the to pick random 1 to 2. Alright, so we have this script in place. And now we're going to add an if else. Now if the equals 1, then we're gonna point in the direction minus 45. And you know what? I'm gonna add this move 40 steps after all these scripts. Else they're gonna point in direction 45. And so yeah. And now we're gonna add our positioning script. So we're gonna add an if else to check if shop is 1. So remember we're gonna be spawning these from the corners of the cat. So we're gonna add an if shop is, you know what, change it to 0. And so then now we're gonna have our space key stuff reliable again. So don't do it in this sprite in case it starts creating clones. So we're gonna add a space key pref script. So ask mouse X. But then we're also gonna add one for ask mouse Y. So when I position my mouse somewhere, then I can, you know, try doing the script. So anyway, now I'm gonna, no, not in here. Now I'm gonna add my go to X, Y. So now I'm just gonna mute it a second. And so first do the mouse X one for shop equals 0. So press space. And so our mouse X is minus 42. So you can remember that. And also the mouse Y is 46. So in the shop is equals 0, then add a 46, so minus 46, and 42. Now we're going to do the same, except for when our shop is on. So we're going to minus 1, 2, 3, alright, and 44. So minus 1, 2, 3 in the shop equals 0, and minus 44. And since this was the pointing direction minus 45, this is going to be facing to the left. So this is why we did the positioning from the left of the cats here. So now we're going to do the same for the right side. So point in direction 45. Then if shop equals 0, then go to x minus 59, 57. Put that in the shop equals 1 side because remember the shop's still on. So so it was minus 50, minus 57. So minus 50, minus 57. Now when the shop is off, you can have the same Y position. Wait, so you can set these Y position to the exactly the same because the cat's only moving left. So wait a second. So I'm going to set this to 42. And now the same for here. We can also set these to 42. So when the shop is off, we can set it to 17 and 26. So 17 and 26. So now let's just do these scripts. But before finally let's show. So now let's try clicking the clap. And then you see you'll have a clone there. I'm gonna remove these space keys. And then now you've also got one over here. And this isn't cloning yet. This is only setting the position of these cats. So you can see that this cat cloning script is working. So we either switch it to this side or this side. And same for the shop as well. So yeah. Anyways, before I move on to the next part, I just want to say that the reason I know about this script is not because I've seen it on any tutorials anywhere, because sometimes in coding you have to just do trial and error, try just random stuff and see what happens. Like my friend Silver740 on Scratch, go check him out too. He does lots of cool animations and this stuff, and and it's only just because random stuff and all Trust me, his things look really cool. So go check him out on Scratch. You spell him as Silver 740 and no space. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add the moving forward scripts. So we're going to add a repeat 25, and then we'll do move 10 steps. And then we can add a if dir equals 1, then you can turn right. Wait, so dir 1 is left. So if dir equals 1, then you turn left 10 degrees. Else you turn right, turn 10 degrees. So again, if dir equals 1. And now finally, the the moment of truth. We're gonna create a clone of myself, but we're not just gonna create a clone of myself. We're gonna set the type to clone, remember? Oh wait, my caps lock is on. And then create a clone of myself, but then immediately set the type to blank, so that then this original sprite isn't thought of as a clone. And now that's all those scripts done. So when you try to test it out, you'll see that this happens. And it looks kind of cool actually. So yeah, and this isn't meant to be showing right now, so we're just gonna remove this script. And now we're gonna do the when I start as a clone. Then we're going to show. And we're gonna make a new variable. Call it gravity. For the sprite only in. I'm gonna set the gravity to 12. And so yeah. And now we should also create another variable. Yeah, a lot of variables. Call this one clones for sprites. And just change clones by 1. As well as that, we can set clones to 0. And also down here, just so we don't have an overload. Well, up here. Well, actually, no, let's just add it here. Let's surround this with an if clones is less than 100. So if there's not too many clones on screen already, then we'll do that. And as well as that, let's also change clones in here as well. So change clones by 1 and change clones by -1 when it's deleted. And so now we'll add the gravity code. So repeat until y position is less than 170. Actually, no, it has to be minus 170. So repeat until that. And then we'll add a y position in here. And then what we'll do is we'll change y by gravity. And then change gravity by -1. So then we also add a change ghost effect by 2 so that the cat slowly ghosts out. And now we'd also add if block. So if I go here, if dir equals 1, turn right, actually no, turn left by 10 degrees. I'll turn right by 10 degrees. And now finally we can move 10 steps. And then when this gets deleted, we can change clones by -1, and we can also delete this clone. So now is finally the time to give this baby a test. So add all the variables and let's get going. So when we click, you'll see that it isn't quite working yet. So yeah, wonder why. Wait, so it turns out what you actually need to do is go into the cat clone sprite and you need to add this if clones less than 100 in the repeat 25. So now when you see that, yep, that looks kind of satisfying. So yeah, and when we click this, it does that. And yeah. So if you want to make this a truly good effect, turned out I turned these the wrong way around. So if you change it like this, then that's also a cool effect. But then you'd also have to change your positions back to the ones you like. So I just need to change mine back quickly. So while the video was paused, I changed a bit of stuff. So like I put this in a run without screen refresh block. And so the effect looks like this. But again, what you should do is play around with these scripts and don't always do what I say because sometimes changing it is good as well. And so I think this looks good. Now, I don't remember if there's anything else I need to add. But yeah, this part was very confusing, so I'm going to show you the script now. So first there was a when green flag click, set clones to 0, hide set size to 40. Then whereas you click a clone, that's just a cloning script. Then in the define clone, if type is greater than blank, go to front layer so if it's the non-clone type, so it doesn't keep cloning. Then set dir to pick random 1 to 2, dir equals 1. This dir equals 1. Then I underneath this direction script, there's a repeat 25 of this, and I also removed the move 10 steps because that made it a bit too much, and that it the start of it. So then when I do this, oh, this looks kind of cool actually. Anyway, so when I do this, then in the cloning sprite, well, in the clones, it says show. When I start as a clone, show. Set gravity to 12 and change clones by 1. Then repeat until y position is less than 1 minus 170. Change y by gravity, change gravity by -1, and change ghost effect by 2. Then if dir equals 1, turn left by 10 degrees, else turn right by 10 degrees and move 10 steps. And finally, change clones by -1. Delete this clone. And you should swap them around if you like. And remember, these scripts don't have to be the exact same. They can be a bit different if you want, but just don't add any too much of significant differences that change the effect completely. Anyway, so now, final thing of this 40-minute video, wow, is, well, actually, yeah, okay, yeah. We're gonna create a thumbnail. So we can add a timer one that does it, but I'm just gonna create a very simple thumbnail. So Control A. I'm just gonna call it thumbnail, and then now you can have fun designing your thumbnail. So this is my completed thumbnail, and I think it looks pretty sweet. And now I'm gonna get some code to actually make it work. So go to the code, and now first of all, oh, my microphone keeps falling. Go to X 0 Y 0. When we've clicked, and set ghost effect to 100. Now I'm gonna create um well I'm gonna create a stop button press detector. So I'm gonna create a new variable. I'm just gonna call it timer for the sprite only. I could make it for all sprites, but I don't really need to. So now one green flag clicked forever. Set timer to the actual timer. And now I'm gonna do when timer is greater than timer. So when the project is stopped and the actual timer is greater than, then we're simply gonna hide all variables. So hide variable clicks, hide variable C, hide variable CPC, and finally hide variable CPS, and also CPS shop. And then when we start the project, we can show only these two variables. Just remember, the CPS and the CPS shop are already being dealt with. So when we start the project, this happens, and we stop it, all the variables are hidden. And you see this very nice looking thumbnail. And so this is the completed Cat Clicker episode 4. The tutorial is finally complete. Woo! And so now, please like and subscribe, follow Fimochi and Silver740 on Scratch. And now it's finally finished. We can do so many new stuff, add stuff. And then this is where your turn comes in. Add stuff to the clicker, make it look good. Anyway, enough said. Time to end the video now. Peace out.